You were on Philly D today?
Bastards, welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. You daily
Oh,
dive
I didn't even
into
cover
news.
the
It is
Assad
Tuesday
thing.
reaction. But then, unfortunately, we need to talk about how a teen shooter killed 2 people at the pre-K through 12 Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin yesterday. With reports initially claiming that at around 11 a.m., a second grader at Abundant Life called 911 to report a shooting, with officers then dispatched. But you had police clarifying today that that wasn't entirely correct. It was actually a second grade teacher. But anyway, within minutes, the first officers rolled up, and by 11:05, they reported that the shooter was down and a gun had been recovered. With then later reported that the evidence suggests that the shooter took their own life. Then by 11:30, you had officers and bomb-sniffing dogs clearing the building, and the injured had been taken off to the hospital, which on that note, 6 were injured, 2 of which were students that, as of this morning, are in critical condition. And outside of the shooter, 2 people have died, with one being a teacher and the other a student. And all of this is we still do not know the identities of the victims while the police inform their families. But with that said, we've slowly been getting a clearer picture of what happened thanks to updates from the local police chief, Sean Barnes. Right, yesterday, we learned that the shooter was a 15-year-old girl and a student at Abundant Life, and that the shooting was confined to a study hall with a mix of students from different grades. Also, reportedly, the gun used was a 9mm handgun, and the ATF is currently trying to figure out exactly where it came from. And this is the Madison police are investigating the shooter's parents, who are reportedly cooperating, with the police specifically looking at whether the parents owned the gun that was used in the shooting. And Barnes saying, we also want to look at if the parents may have been negligent. And that's a question that we'll have to answer with our district attorney's office. But saying, at this time, that does not appear to be the case. Now, as far as the motive, that still is officially unclear, though the shooting was reportedly planned in advance. With, for example, CNN saying that a source told them that the shooter had been struggling, which she expressed in writings that the police are currently reviewing, which was also confirmed by Barnes this morning, who said, we've been made aware of a manifesto, if you want to call it that, or some type of letter that's been posted by someone who alleged to be her friend. We haven't been able to locate that person yet, but that's something we're going to work on today. Now with this, the community there has obviously been hit very hard, right? They've planned a candlelight vigil for tonight. A memorial has started to take shape outside the school. We've also seen news outlets interviewing members of the community, with one mother saying,
it's sad, you know, to be home and then somebody call you and say your kids schooling like down and shooting and you didn't know where they are. And thank God they were safe. But the trauma, it's a lot, because I'm sure they lost friends and teachers, which is not okay. And I don't think they will be okay for a long time. And I'm not.
Also, with all this, we've seen kind of the general aftermath that we normally see with a situation like this. Right, many politicians pointing to Madison today and their calls for gun control. With, for example, Wisconsin Representative Mark Pocan saying, I've sat through so many moments of silence on the floors of Congress that are followed by 0 moments of action. But then also adding that he even had a media appearance get canceled because the number of deaths was corrected and dropped to 2. With him saying, if that is a societal response, we are screwed. We have to do more as a society. We have to be more outraged that you drop your kid off to a school and you're not sure they're going to be safe. That's completely unacceptable, and we all need to speak out much louder. Right? And there has been a lot of conversation surrounding both the media coverage of the school shootings and the overall response to them. Right? Like with CNN specifically, they got some heat for interviewing students who were in the building at the time of the shooting, with a number of people responding by saying things like, just seen an 8-year-old girl getting interviewed about the school shooting in Madison, clearly traumatized after seeing her teacher shot. Why are you shoving a mic and camera into these babies' faces? And as a journalist, y'all need to draw the line and stop interviewing children. They don't need to relive the trauma. L for every journalist involved. With also big online commentators in the space like Hasan Piker chiming in, reacting to the CNN clip.
1 week before Christmas, a young student has been killed, a teacher has been killed. How will Madison, Wisconsin even begin to deal with this horrific day? An area leader will join us next.
Dude, this is wild stuff. I swear. It's always like, it's just so commonplace. It's just so commonplace at this point, where it's like we have streamlined the coverage. We have streamlined the coverage immediately.
With him then later adding,
now we have like additional industries tasked with, designed with the purpose of extracting some kind of profit out of tragedies like this. And yet we always seemingly find a reasonable market solution. And that doesn't mean that we're actually eliminating the problem. It's never about eliminating the problem. It's about trying to triage and I guess like stop the bleeding by, you know, making more money. Yeah, one man's tragedy is another man's opportunity.
Right, and he's not alone there. Many have taken issue with people seemingly trying to profit, whether monetarily or with attention from this shooting specifically. With, I mean, just one example being,
I was actually talking about like industries that are tasked with like doing therapy for school shooting victims and whatnot. I guess it also suits the purpose of like mainstream media as well. I think that this person also kind of falls into that a little bit, where she's like, oh, I, you know, sought out the manifesto, so like I should be able to watermark it, which is so crazy. But I can't help but remember this bulletproof room that that they were trying to sell it for American schools, like bulletproof backpacks and bulletproof rooms. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to show you right now real quick. This. Like, it seems like a joke, but it's not a joke. An Alabama company has created a safe room it believes will save lives during a school shooting. It's a fold-out panic room.
We can't control policy. We can't control politics. We're just a small company that has, I feel like, innovative ideas that can pass the test of time. And we wanted to bring our version of gun control to the nation. We have a deployable unit that folds into the wall and then comes out. It deploys in under 10 seconds, and the entire classroom can be in this and locked into a safe place within their classroom in a matter of 30 seconds or less. And then we have a fully deployed unit that is stationary and it stays. Anything
helps? No. Brother, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? What do you mean anything helps? This is just like, this is giving up. This is just giving up. What are we doing? It's not anything. This is basically saying, well, we can't fix it, so we might as well try and, again, triage. Yeah, it's a Band-Aid on a artery that is bleeding out.
Out all the time, and it's actually mounted.
It's like the ship is sinking and you're poking your finger in one of the holes and you're like, this is fine. Anything helps. The ship's sinking.
It's solidly, and it's not deployable. We're now going to hopefully be able to get these in every classroom in America to give everybody a chance to go home at night to their loved ones.
It's wild because this is not a natural disaster. Gun violence is treated as though it is a natural disaster, but it's not a natural disaster. It's not an earthquake. And even then you can take measures against earthquakes as well, which we also seemingly don't. Like, it's not a naturally occurring phenomenon. It doesn't exist anywhere else, just with us.
Someone online actually shared what they said was the Madison shooters manifesto with a watermark on each page. Though I will say it's important to note here that the police have still said they're not ready to confirm whether this actually is what people are saying it is. But regardless, right, that watermark landed the original poster in a world of backlash with people saying things like, an influencer watermarking a school shooters manifesto with their social media handle feels like an episode the writers of Black Mirror rejected because they thought it was too obvious. But while we watch the public discourse play out and we wait for more information and confirmations to come in, where I'll end this is by saying that obviously our hearts and our thoughts go out to those in Madison. But